You are listening to Part 5A of the podcast series, 21 Qualities of a Leader.
Quality number 5, competence. If a leader is to be effective, they have to be competent. James Gardner said it so well. The society which scorns excellence in plumbing because plumbing is an humble activity and tolerates shoddiness in philosophy because it's an exalted activity will have neither good plumbing nor good philosophy. Neither its pipes nor its theories will hold water. And when you think about people who are competent, you're really considering only 3 types of people. 1, those who can see what needs to happen. Number 2, those who can make it happen. And 3, those who can make things happen when it really counts. And the key to competence is knowing, finding, and developing your strength zone, the sweet spot. I sometimes refer to the strength zone as the sweet spot, where you and I are hitting the ball like we've never hit the ball before. And the difference between a great golfer and an average golfer is an average golfer maybe in a round of 18 holes will hit the sweet spot maybe once or twice of all the shots, where that pro will constantly hit the sweet spot. They are constantly in the strength zone. One of the laws of teamwork is the law of the niche. The law of the niche says people are most valuable where they add the most value. So let's talk about the strength zone for just a second. Let's talk about finding your sweet spot. When I was in high school playing basketball, our coach did something that was just taught us the value of staying in your strength zone, staying in your position. Here's what he would do. The first practice of the year, he would put the first team against the second team, of which he would put us on the first team out of position. In other words, I played guard in school, but that day he'd say, John, you're going to play center. And he'd have the pivot guy clear out as the point guard. Now, needless to say, we played that scrimmage, and every time we did that, the second team always won. Now, they weren't as good as we were, they weren't as skilled as we were, they weren't as confident as we were, but can I tell you something? I'm not a good center. And every time I shot against 6'7" Doug Roth, the ball came back to me. Why? I'm out of position. I don't belong there. Now, what I want you to know is this. To be competent, which is the quality we're talking about, to be competent, you've got to stay in your strength zone, not in your weak zone. People don't pay for average, so quit liking it so much. People don't pay for average. See, if you're average in something, and from a 1 to a 10, you're a 4, and you say, well, I'm going to work on that weakness, I'm a 4, you're only going to get to be a 5 or maybe a 6, which is still going to be average, and you don't want to be average because people don't pay for average. You don't pay for average, I don't pay for average. We don't look at our wife after a hard day's work and say, hey, babe, let's go to an average restaurant. Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah, woo, an average restaurant? And we get there, and the hostess starts to seat us at the table. We say, "Oh, excuse me, don't give me the table by the lake. I don't want to look out of the lake. And oh, no, just give me an average table. I'll take the one over in the dark corner here." And by the way, as you're seating us, do you have an average waiter? Don't give us your best waiter. Oh my goodness, bring us one that they'll come and listen to us and take the order, and they'll come back and bring the food, and half of it's wrong. They'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, excuse me, but another 45 minutes will bring you the right thing." Bring me an average waiter. And when the average waiter comes, we don't say, by the way, we don't want to know what's special in this restaurant. We don't want to make what's good about this restaurant. Give us something. We'd like to order something nobody else has ordered all day. You don't go to that. You don't do that. People don't go to an average waiter and have an average meal at an average restaurant, an average table, and get all excited. You don't walk out of that place and say, oh, I am pumped. Woo. That's one of the finest experiences I've ever had in an average place. And you don't look at your spouse and say, oh, let's go to an average movie. You know, not one that our friends are talking about, not one that's really good. Let's go to one that nobody's seen. I mean, the good news about going to an average movie is there's all kind of space. You can get your popcorn, your drink, and just lay there and watch that sucker. No. People don't pay for average, so quit falling in love with it. You got to stay in your strength zone. If you stay working on your weaknesses in the skill level, you will never be more than average. And that's not competence.